What's up, lore masters? Today's breakdown is one that I was kind of disappointed in because I always held it to a high esteem and I expected more technicals but wasn't there. Because of that, I'm not sure there's a ton that I can parse out from it, but it keeps getting requested, so let's take a look at the time Quark taught economics to a Vulcan. For those who need a background, both Quark and his Vulcan friend have been arrested because they've been getting weapons to the Maquis. The Vulcan is not giving up any information that could help them, and so Quark does his best to convince her what's the most logical course of action.
I hope you're happy.
I am a Vulcan. My emotional state is irrelevant.
Well, I'm a Ferengi, and my emotional state is very relevant, and right now I'm miserable.
So not only was this a perfectly executed joke, but we are fed a few tidbits of information here. When you watch the camera, you can see it's set on a mid-close-up, while the two actors are much further away from each other. This not only gives them space, but also makes the conversation seem more personal. If it had been a wide shot, or more likely a mid-wide shot with both encompassed in the scene, it would have been very plain, even though that's how most normal interactions occur. Also, this scene uses the J-cut and L-cut audio editing technique a lot. That is to say that we will often hear the dialogue from one character while we're looking at another. It goes back and forth doing this ever so often. As an example, we hear Quark talking to the Vulcan while the camera is focused on her. This does a great job of making us feel like the person is actually there in the same room having a conversation. As stated, it's used a lot more extensively here than we normally see in Star Trek dialogue between two characters. It's not a bad change, it's just different.
And right now I'm miserable. And it's all your fault.
You were well paid for your assistance.
Not well enough. Look, I know the Cardassians can't be trusted. I know the Central Command would like nothing better than to destroy the Federation colonies in the demilitarized zone.
Then you agree with our position?
Not for a second.
Why not?
Because your position is illogical.
Do you propose to lecture me on logic?
If you come to my movie night live streams where we look at fan fiction films, you know one of the most boring things you can do is to keep the talent standing still and facing each other, just talking. You need to have them move ever so often. Not only is it more interesting, it's more natural. Here we see that Quark is at a distance from his Vulcan friend, but now he's attempting to convince her that she's in the wrong, that she can actually help. So he moves closer to her and sits down next to her. This makes it more personal. This brings them right up to each other. It's something that would naturally occur in a conversation, and it's a good signal to us that he's attempting to empathize with her. After he sits down, the camera stays behind him with the shot reverse shot. At first, I was very confused to why they would do this. The shot is awkward. Personally, I would have put the camera right in front of them, but after thinking about it, had they done it the way I thought was best, it would break the 180-degree rule, which states you never go past 180 degrees between the actors because it makes it unnatural. It's a good catch that I would have missed, and it definitely would have looked very odd doing it any other way than they did it here.
Do you propose to lecture me on logic?
I don't want to, but you leave me no choice. It all comes down to the third rule of acquisition. You don't know that one, do you?
I am not well versed in Ferengi philosophy.
Remind me to give you a copy of the rules. You never know when they'll come in handy.
First, I love the reactions from both actors. Quark looking at her with a bit of a disappointed surprise and superior attitude, and the Vulcan being taken aback. I'm tempted to say him standing up and walking away from her is a way of distancing himself to tell her something she doesn't want to hear, and he adds a bit of theatrics to it. Though he moves right back to sit next to her, so it could have been a way to just have some movement with the actors. Again, if they were sitting this entire time, that would have been kind of boring.
Remind me to give you a copy of the rules. You never know when they'll come in handy. Now, the third rule clearly states, never spend more for an acquisition than you have to.
Logical, but I fail to see how that applies to my situation.
You want to acquire peace. Fine. Peace is good. But how much are you willing to pay for it?
Whatever it costs.
That's the kind of irresponsible spending that causes so many business ventures to fail. You're forgetting the third rule. Right now, peace could be bought at a bargain price, and you don't even realize it.
I find this very confusing.
An interesting piece that I almost missed. I'm not sure if this was done on purpose by the actress, but more likely she was given some direction. When you watch her mannerisms, anytime Quark says something that confuses her or that she may disagree with, she looks off and forward, away from him and the camera. This shows her considering what is being said, and it takes her away from the conversation so she can be in her own thoughts, in a way. It also shows she's teetering on the edge. She isn't sure which side she wants to be on. Quark is razor focused on her though, steadfast. He doesn't take his eyes off her. He's confident. It's subtle, but it gets the point across. It's very well done.
I find this very confusing.
Then I'll make it so simple that even a Vulcan can understand. The Central Command has been caught red-handed smuggling weapons to their settlers. So, every ship that approaches the demilitarized zone will be searched. Without the support of the Central Command, the Cardassian settlers won't be so eager to fight.
You forget the weapons they already have.
They have weapons, you have weapons, everyone has weapons, but right now, no one has a clear advantage. So the price of peace is at an all-time low.
I just wanted to take a moment to give some props to Quark's actor here. He is in a confined space, which means you don't have a lot of room to do anything, to really breathe. However, Quark has to get across the point that this is urgent, the frustration and the need for her to listen. He is a lot more animated with his hands. I don't remember him ever being so expressive in this way, which really shows how frustrated he is and how this all has to stop. Maybe it's something that happens and I just didn't really take account until now, but I really enjoyed it.
So the price of peace is at an all-time low. This is the perfect time to sit down and hammer out an agreement. Don't you get it? Attacking the Cardassians now will only escalate the conflict and make peace more expensive in the long run. Now, I ask you, is that logical?
This is the last piece, and it's really curious. Unlike what we saw in other scenes, the use of mid-close-ups to get real close to the actors isn't done until the very end. And even then, it's not as harsh as we have seen before. Truth is, though, we don't need it that way. As Quark moves closer and closer to the Vulcan, you can see how expressive both he and the woman are. They are carrying the entire scene on their own. It is really possible to overuse camera language, like anything else. The decision to keep it back and relaxed and not forced the way we're supposed to feel was a good call. Again, just very well done. But all of these are my thoughts. What do you think about the interaction? Let me know in the comments below. Hey guys, so I'm attempting to get some better confrontations out to you, but ironically, because they're so popular, they are outright blocked by CBS. This means if I do them, I have to wait 2 days for you to see them and 30 more days to get any money from it, if I get money at all. I'm looking at options for this though, and no, it's not going to be on another platform, so don't even waste your breath. I will have something out soon though. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.